and possibly a link to a YouTube channel. We ask that you please remain muted, although we'd love to hear from all of you. It's a bit challenging when there's so many people in a meeting like this. But if you have questions at all, please use the chat box to ask any questions. You can ask questions generally where everyone will see your question, or you may message the host and the co-host privately for any questions you don't wish to have your name associated with. Some of you submitted questions ahead of time. The questions that I ahead of time are part of the presentation. So we will be answering those, but feel free, anything we didn't get to, please put your question into the chat and we'll be sure to get that question answered for you. And if we don't have the answer right now, we'll get that answer for you and reach back out to you after our forum is over. Before we get started, we want to do a little roll call. We want to know what sports are represented by those of you who have joined the forum. And we also want to know, are you a current or new student athlete, or are you a parent? So has launched the poll, and there are 2 questions there. So be sure after you answer the first question, please scroll down, answer the second question for us as well. We'll give you a little bit more time, give you 10 more seconds. Again, there's 2 questions there for you. What sport do you represent? And are you a new or returning continuing student athlete or a parent? All right, Cami, let's end the poll and see our results. All right, it looks like we've got a lot of basketball student athletes, a lot of cross country and track, football, soccer, softball. All right, that's a good wide range of student athletes that we presented. All right, thank you, Cami. Okay, as we are moving into our program here, I want you to know the purpose of the forum here today is we want to check in with all of you. We want to see how you're doing. The spring semester is just ending. We're heading into summer. It's a good time for us to kind of see how you've done and try to help let you know what we think and how we see things going forward. It gives me and our dean and faculty and staff the opportunity to address our students. It gives us an opportunity to share information from our our Santa Ana College Student Services representatives. We want to give you the most up-to-date information available. At a time like this, things are changing constantly, and there's a lot of uncertainty, but we want you to know what we know now. We want to provide clear and transparent information about the status of athletic academics. We want to give you the opportunity to share and communicate how COVID-19 has impacted you. And then we want to answer as many questions and answers as we can. Our agenda, these are the topics that we will be covering. They may not necessarily be in that order, but we're going to be covering all of those. And again, if you have questions along the way, just post your question into the chat. We're going to kick off our forum here today with the Dean of Kinesiology and Athletics, Dr. Doug Manning. Doug, take it away.
Can you hear me okay?
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, before I start, I just want to acknowledge all the hard work that's gone into this presentation. I know that Mary and Cami and Kayla, Jose behind the scenes have worked tirelessly. I know that we have student services represented here. We have our faculty and staff on the participant list and a number of student athletes. So I just really want to acknowledge their hard work behind the scenes and for supporting all of you, our students and our student athletes at Santa Ana. We really do have a really strong support network, and this virtual forum is just another testament to that support. So welcome all, and congratulations to everybody for your hard work. Kayla, there's a hyperlink on the Nelson Mandela quote, "Sport has the power to change the world." And I'd like to start with a brief 1-minute video before I get into my, my talk.
It is part of my life. It shows me the way to go.
It supported me from the beginning, and when things didn't work out well, it taught me not to give up and kept me going.
It helped me understand people and to get real friends.
Friends who can be trusted and who also trust me.
It helped me understand that all people are equal. It made me stronger. It taught me it's not about being strong or weak, about winning or losing. It's about discovering ourselves. It gave me a lot.
We share our victories with it.
We will always be together.
Sport is my life.
You know, I want to thank you for letting me start with that video. We have amazing faculty and staff and sport within our division, and some of our faculty teach those socio-ethical issues in sport, some of the ones that I've taught before, and that video really sums it up for me. It's the power of sport. So I want to let you know that at Santa Ana College, we reject racism. We stand for diversity and inclusion, and we really truly believe in the power of sport. Like all of you, I followed closely the tragic murder of George Floyd, an African-American man in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And as I reflect upon not only the murder of that individual, but also the protests afterwards, I want to acknowledge the pain, the hurt, and the anger experienced by our communities of color, which include many of our students and student athletes at Santa Ana College. Black lives matter. Community of color, they matter. And our students and student athletes at Santa Ana College and beyond truly matter. You know, I'm a firm believer in the power of sport, and I really long for the day when we can return to campus. We can hug and support our student athletes. And now then more than ever, we really need the access, opportunity, and equity provided by athletics in the community college system. Sport is a vehicle for social change. Kinesiology in athletics promotes mental health, physical health, teaches life lessons, builds self-esteem, fosters teamwork, and promotes unity. Your future is before you, and Santa Ana College is here to support you. I really, really appreciate these participant numbers keep growing, and I appreciate all the work done behind the scenes by our faculty and staff, and I appreciate everybody's attendance today. Thank you for coming, and go Dons.
Thank you, Doug. Doug, before we let you go, is there any update or anything as far as academically that we can expect starting in June right now? What do we expect academically as far as, will we be on campus? Will we continue remote? Do you know the status of that right now?
You know, for the summer, the chancellor and the administration has made a decision that we are in remote instruction for the summer. So any student athletes that are taking classes should expect to be taking them online throughout the summer. However, recently the district did come out with some return to campus guidelines for athletics. The 3C2A, our governing body, will meet on Friday to vote on a plan for returning to campus. And so our conversations will intensify in June with a hope to return to campus at some point in July. And I can't pinpoint an exact date for you, but I want to let everybody know, myself, your athletic director, your coaches, we want to get back to campus. So just as soon as possible in July, that is our sincere hope, is to return to campus. But on your academic side, your math and your science, your English, maybe some art history and other classes across campus, I would expect to have those online. But for athletics, just as soon as possible, when we can return to campus, we're looking to do that.
Awesome, Doug. Thank you so much, and thank you for making the time to address our students.
Of course, thank you.
Okay, so as we're moving into, talking a little bit about athletics, and I want you to know what our athletics goals are for Santa Ana College. The most important thing to us is that we want to retain, the retention and the academic success of our current and future student athletes. We realize this is an extremely challenging time, and, moving to online instruction is oftentimes not what a student signs up for. And this is hard, but we know we have support, and we want to make sure you stick with it and you can still continue on your academic success. I want you to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. What I mean by that is, right now things are very uncertain. There's things, this whole pandemic has been out of our control. And as Dr. Manning mentioned, athletics will be coming back. We just don't know exactly when yet. But when it comes back, we want you to be ready for when that happens. And I firmly believe that when this pandemic is over and we return to sports, I think there's going to be two specific groups of athletes and two types of teams. There will be the athletes that use this time to get better. Even during these challenging times, they used it to get better, to get in great shape, so that when that opportunity came, they were ready. There may be others who are just, kind of waiting to see what happens and are going to use the pandemic as an excuse. And when we get to this, some athletes are going to rise, some teams are going to rise, and some athletes are going to drop. And right now you have the opportunity to be one of those athletes that rises. And even if you haven't done a lot up until this point, start today. You still have time to get ready. People are ahead of you, but start today if you haven't already started. I want to encourage you to control the controllables. There's so much out of our control right now. We can't control necessarily what's happening to us, but we can control our attitude and our mindset and how we respond to that. And that goes a long ways to determining if you're going to be ready on the other end of this pandemic. I also want this forum to serve as an opportunity to tune you into our website. Cami does a great job with our website and our social media. We have a text messaging system that the athletic director, the dean, our athletic secretary might be texting you important information. We want you to tune into that. We want you to be aware that we're developing and monitoring a return to play plan and what that is. And that we want you to know that we're going to be following a safe to play protocol that's going to be based on facts and science. It's not going to be opinion. It's not going to be, what somebody thinks. We're going to base everything that we do on facts and science. As we look here, as we're returning, this is the return to campus sort of plan, and it's a very fluid plan, but these are sort of the steps that have to happen for us to get back on campus. Obviously, the campus has to be ready for our return, and there's a lot that's going on right now, trying to prepare the campus. Then eventually the staff might return to campus, and there's a lot that has to go on to that. And then the student athletes will be returning to campus after that. And then eventually get back to training. And your coaches are working extremely hard right now, modifying training plans and conditioning plans and the logistics of how they train to make sure that when we are able to return that the training is in a safe manner. And then eventually back to competition. As I said, right down, we don't know the timeline on that, but I want you to know that all of us are advocating for you and working hard to prepare for whatever that scenario looks like. There's a lot of things that will affect when we do return. We wait to see what the governor says. We wait to hear from the Orange County Healthcare Agency. As Doug mentioned, there's the 3C2A Board of Directors. They'll be voting this Friday as to which way they anticipate sports proceeding in the state. We also have to work with our district based on, as Doug mentioned, the chancellor's new protocols and things like that, and then Santa Ana College. And then in athletics, we're also somewhat impacted by what the NCAA does or what the NAIA does. But right now, we don't know. We know we'll come back, we just don't know when. So what that could mean is we may return for fall practices on schedule with fall admission dates. Those things may be pushed a little bit further into the autumn. Things could be pushed possibly to spring. So there's a lot of different scenarios, and ultimately the virus will determine what happens, and we're all preparing for all those different scenarios. Before we move on, I want to do another quick poll for you. This poll, we want to know how COVID has impacted your life, how the pandemic has impacted your life. Please check all of these variables that apply. We'll give you about 10 more seconds to finish the poll. All right, Cami, let's end the poll and see the results. As expected, we can see that there's been just a huge impact from this pandemic on all of you, our students, and many of you have maybe been impacted in all of these areas. Again, the important thing that I want to convey here in this forum is that we're here to help you, and we're here to help you get to the other end of this. And we want you to reach out to the resources that we're presenting here today. Okay, as we're moving along here, on to our next speaker. We've got, in athletics, we have a team of athletics counselors, a team of 4 who do a great job working together to help our student athletes with their education plans, navigating the transfer piece. Today, we have athletics counselor Jeff CUTKOMP presenting on behalf of our counselors.
Thanks, Mary. Again, this is Jeff CUTKOMP. I'm one of the athletic counselors here at Santa Ana College. Actually, Frank Gonzalez is online here with us as well.
Awesome.
So along with myself and Frank, like Mary said, we have 2 other great counselors, Danny and Harvey. And we're your team. We're your team here to support your academic journey in the classroom and academically, along with your athletic success. I would like for you to think of us as your advocates on campus and at Santa Ana College. We're advocating for your success as students as well as athletes at Santa Ana College. And this starts at the very beginning when you come in as new students. We're here to do new student athletic orientations, and we meet with you to help plan for your first semester here at Santa Ana College, and all the way through the end of your journey here at Santa Ana College. We have counseling courses that you can take with each of us who help you kind of connect to majors and support you as students here at Santa Ana College. And we also develop long-term educational plans which help you guide each semester and figure out where you're going to be transferring at the end of your journey here at Santa Ana College. We help connect you to resources on campus, such as financial aid, EOPS, DSPS, and other support programs. And we also are advocates for the Student Athlete Study Hall. And we encourage all of our student athletes to take part in this great service located in the ACC once we're back on campus. In this service, you have access to computers, tutors, and the athletic counselors to help you in the classroom and with your academics. We have a number of different ways that you could reach us. We have in-person meetings once we're allowed back on campus. Those take place in the E109 office, which is located by the pool. We also do meetings in the ACC once we're allowed to go in that study hall. But as of right now, we're doing all of our appointments online, and I think a little bit later we're going to show you how to access our appointments using the SAC Dons website. So a couple other important things that you need to know in terms of your role as a student is how to register for classes. You're going to be using WebAdvisor to register for classes, and that's something when we do your orientations, we will walk you through that process. You also want to be aware of important deadlines as a student, and I think admissions will speak on that a little bit later, but in terms of like withdrawing from classes, enrolling in classes, and then applying for universities. And then when you apply for graduation, we're also going to be working closely with each student to apply for graduation. And typically that's done in the first month of the semester that you would like to graduate. Okay. And Frank, if you want to say hi, just so that you come on the screen here. Oh.
Is Frank unmuted?
All right. Well,
oh.
so yeah, like myself, again, Frank, Harvey, and Danny are here to support you. And then you could contact us through email, which our emails are all posted on the SAC Dons website.
Awesome, Jeff. Thank you so much. And sorry, Jeff, I was clicking on something else. Did you mention your new student orientations?
Yeah, we're going to be kind of meeting with teams throughout the summer. So they haven't been scheduled yet, but we've actually been meeting with a number of students. So you might have already met with me, but throughout the summer, we're going to be coordinating with your coaches to plan new student orientations as new students come into Santa Ana.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jeff, and thank you, Frank, as well. Okay, our next presenter, our next presenter is a specialist from our admissions and records area, Amber Stapleton. Is Amber with us?
Hi, hello.
Hi, good morning, Amber.
Good morning. So important dates to acknowledge is we have done the pass no pass, extended it to pass the deadline of grades being turned in. So if you feel that you don't want to get a D or an F, if you feel you just want to do pass no pass, the deadline for that for spring only is June 25th. Final grades are due by instructors on June 11th. And then as far as fall going forward, we have 2 dates. If you want to drop and get a refund without a W, that will be September 6th. If you feel later on in the semester that you can't complete it, you can drop with a W on November 15th. The last day to add classes without instructor approval is September 6th. After that, you will need to get a late add petition. For the 3rd week, the dean will approve it. And the 4th week, you have to get the dean and the VP's approval. As far as the fall pass no pass deadlines, the first 8 weeks, that will be September 11th. And for the second 8 weeks, it'll be November 6th. If people need to do an excuse withdrawal for the fall, they have up until a year to do so with documentation. Any questions?
So Amber, so that's kind of a big deal that students can change to a pass, no pass grading up until June 25th for spring 20?
Yes.
That's correct.
Because of the pandemic, we want to allow students the opportunity to take control of their grades and their options.
Awesome. Are there any other specific things to the pandemic that maybe they need to be aware of that have been adjusted for them? Or is that just the main one?
That's the main one. The other one we had ended on the May 29th to do the extended the EW for the corona, but at this point they can no longer apply for that. It's just the regular EW, so with no refund.
Okay, gotcha.
And everything going forward for the fall, we do have regular dates, like I mentioned. There's no extension to it for the fall semester.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you, Amber. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Amber. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Next, we have, sorry, my screen is a little, all right. Next, we have from financial aid, Mr. Robert Manson. Robert, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome.
Hi, Mary.
Great. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, of course. I just wanted to share a little bit about financial aid at Santa Ana College and how we can help you with that. I know that athletics is a big time commitment in addition to being a full-time student, and you might not be able to work as many hours as you would normally need to meet your expenses for going to school. So that's where financial aid can help you with that. So if you have not already applied for financial aid for next year, it's not too late. You can go to the FAFSA if you are a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, or if you are not, you can go to the California DREAM Act and apply for financial assistance. Now, if you're a California resident, you're going to be eligible for the free tuition through the financial aid applications. If you're an out-of-state student, you can still get the federal aid, but you do not get the free tuition waiver, unfortunately. But still, the grants and loans available to the federal government can help pay for the expenses of going to school. So once you have applied, you can check your financial aid progress by going to WebAdvisor. It's the same place you go to register for your classes, but there's a financial aid section there. You can check your awards. If you need to turn any documents into us before we can award you, that's there as well. And your eligibility, you can check that too. We're off campus like everyone else, but we will assist you the best we can through online chat and email and on the phone. I know that sometimes doing the FAFSA in certain situations can be confusing, but we'll work with you the best we can to get that done if you haven't already done that. Okay, go to the next slide, please. So I just want to give a couple tips for doing the FAFSA or the DREAM Act. It works best if you do it once and do it correctly to minimize being selected for verification. So they're looking for conflicting information. They're looking for things that don't seem right. So we just want to make sure that you get your financial aid done as quickly as possible. If you are selected for verification, it just means that we're going to need additional documents from you to turn in, but that does slow down the process and it causes more work for you and your parents to have to gather those documents and get them into us. Second tip is pass your classes or you might lose your financial aid. Both in that semester, if you drop too many classes, you might have to pay back some of your financial aid because you're not taking the number of classes needed. Or even if you don't drop them, but if you don't pass all your classes, then you might not be eligible for financial aid in the future. You have to be making academic progress towards your goal. So that's just something to keep in mind, that your counselors can help you with getting a schedule that is best for you in your situation so that you don't end up in a difficult situation. Also, apply early. If you wait to apply or wait to turn your documents in or wait to ask us for help until August, it's going to be difficult to get everything done in time. We're very busy in August. There's obviously not just student athletes out there. There's thousands of other students that we're helping. So we want to spread that volume out as much as we can by taking care of people early. So if you have not already done your FAFSA, or if you have any other questions, try to get those questions answered through our financial aid office now. So you can go to our website and there's a live chat option, like I said, or send us an email. Phone, we can get back to you, but there's nobody at the office right now to answer the phone, but so the first two options are better. So go ahead and go to the next slide. I was also asked to share a little bit about the CARES Act emergency funding. So Santa Ana College was given about $2.7 million to assist students who have had educational expenses caused by COVID-19 crisis. So far, we've given away about half of that to students. So we still have about 1.3 something million for students who have needs. So if you have any educational expenses that you need help with in order to attend school due to the COVID-19. So for instance, you normally would have come to school in the fall, but now you can't actually come here. You're gonna need a laptop, or you're gonna need other things like that. So that would be due to COVID is the reason. So you can ask for help for that if you don't already have a laptop, or you've lost your job or hours or something and you can't pay for certain things that you normally would have been able to pay for due to the COVID. You can fill out that application. So that application is on our webpage on the sac.edu/FNAID, and you can apply there for that. You must be at least half-time, which for all of you shouldn't be an issue, and you must have already completed the FAFSA to do that, to be eligible for that. And I don't have it on here, but we are currently restricting that to students with 2.0 GPAs. So I normally would open it up for questions, but I don't know if we have time for that, Mary.
You know what, Robert? Let's see if anybody has a question related to this. If they could type into the chat right now, and Kayla could ask the question for them. Let's give them a few minutes, because this is an important one. I think it's all important, but
Sure.
Obviously there's a lot of students suffering right now.
Yeah, there's a question from Jeff. Are you able to share how EWs may impact student financial aid?
Good question. So an EW does not affect their financial aid. Well, let me back that up. Back up a little bit. It's as if they never took the class. So if a full-time student became an EW, they may have to pay some of the money back because they're no longer a full-time student, but it wouldn't hurt them as far as future financial aid eligibility.
Awesome. Great question. Anything else, Kayla?
No, I haven't gotten anything else yet.
Okay. Awesome, Robert. And if we get more questions, I may be reaching out to you later this week and to try to get some answers if we don't already have it.
Sure.
We got one more come in, if you have a second. From Jose Requena. I had progress probation and completed the workshop. Now I'm trying to appeal in order to save my BOG waiver, but there wasn't an option online.
Okay, there is a link on financial aid's website to the fee waiver. If there's not a direct link from the homepage, you have to go into the California Promise Grant fee waiver link, and then on that page, I think it's towards the bottom, there's one. Or you could send an email to FNAID@sac.edu and ask for that, and we can send you that link directly.
Awesome. Anything else, Kayla?
Nope.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. Robert Manson, the Associate Dean of Financial Aid. Next, we are joined by the Health and Wellness Coordinator at the SAC Health Center, Dr. Rebecca Barnard. Is Rebecca here?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Rebecca. Welcome.
Thanks. Welcome to all of you athletes, and we look forward to maybe seeing you in the fall. It's a definite maybe at this point. I am responsible for the Health and Wellness Center. We are located currently in the Village 211, next to the spot and down the row from the bookstore. So there's where we are located. We are currently not on campus like everyone else, and we are doing telemedicine appointments with both nurses and our physician. There is no charge for our services. We are, you are all paying a student health fee, and that is where we get our operating budget. So most of the services that we provide for you are free of charge. We do a variety of things. We offer smoking cessation and support for those who want to quit smoking or vaping or things like that. And being athletes, you want to maintain the best lung capacity you have to fulfill your roles in your sport. So we have those options available. We have health education in a variety of different topics. We get a lot of questions regarding STIs, birth control, just general health questions. So we are available for those things. When we resume face-to-face, whenever that may be, we do blood work at a lower cost. We send it out to Quest Labs. And before anybody asks, no, we will not be doing COVID testing. That is very costly for students, even with our discount. I believe it's close to $100. So that's a real expense for students, and we don't think that we should be doing that. So, but we do, if you're interested in just seeing if you're having high cholesterol or things like that, we do low cost blood for that. We do family planning services for both male and female. We participate in a statewide program called FAMPAC. And if you're eligible for that, it's there is a screening that we have to do. If you're eligible for that, you can obtain your family planning services for both males and females free of charge. And that would include STI testing, because that seems to be a big concern. So we do that. We do immunizations, blood pressure checks, and of course we do first aid. So if we're on campus, we hope that you will come and see us. Next slide. There are two components to the Health and Wellness Center. We have psychological services. Right now, we are doing telehealth with licensed psychologists. We currently have 3. We have 1 full-time and 2 part-time. They do one-on-one counseling regarding a variety of different concerns. They will do couple counseling if both students are enrolled, because we get a lot of people who want to know if both in a couple can get the counseling, and we can if they're both currently enrolled. Everything is confidential. We do not disclose any information for both the medical and psychological services side. We cannot release any information without your written consent. So the individual counseling can work on topics such as stress, anxiety, sleep disturbance, substance abuse, domestic violence, a variety of issues. Believe me, if you are concerned about coming and speaking to our mental health counselors, they have heard everything and nothing will surprise them. So they're here to help. They do not pass judgment, and they work with you to figure out how to make you successful in your goal towards finishing school. We will be offering workshops during the summer, and they'll be on stress, anger management, procrastination, not that anybody does that, and of course sleep and the importance of having healthy sleeping habits as you move forward. So next slide. What I've done is I've put here our brochure, and next slide, Mary. And you can see here more of the things that we offer to students, and we work concurrently with the trainers. So we don't do x-rays or anything like that, because we are a simple clinic, and we do short-term episodic care, and we do not do long-term therapies. So we do have a small formulary on campus. So if we're on campus and you get sick or things like that, we have medications on campus that are low cost that we can provide for you. So that's it for me. Any questions?
Rebecca, I have a question for you. You know, I've been reading a lot, and it's not unusual at this time for there to be a lot more stress and anxiety above and beyond what people normally experience with their day-to-day lives as a result of the pandemic. Is that true? And I just really want to encourage our students to reach out to get help. There's no shame in needing help, and especially now, there's a lot more anxiety and stress going on. Is that what your experience has been?
We have been seeing a lot more students concerned about their options of what's the new world going to be like. And so that's part of the reason why we have done some of these workshops, because people need to know that they're not the only ones concerned about these things. And they can learn from those workshops. And they are, some of the ones that were offered this past semester are recorded and posted on our website for the Health and Wellness Center. And those are just good things, good pointers for you to consider. But there's still that one-on-one option available should students want that and feel that that is more of what they're looking for. But again, these are short-term counseling. They don't tend to go more than 8 to 10 counseling sessions. And one of the things that's really important for people to know is that there is no charge for that service. So if it's something more long-term, then the counselors will go ahead and connect them to outside resources. Awesome. But you know, there is no shame, and it's totally confidential. Nobody will know unless the student discloses themselves.
Awesome.
Sorry, there's an airplane flying over.
Kayla, do we have any questions for Rebecca? Anything that's come up in the chat?
Not related to health and wellness, but there's a question about summer training.
Okay, we'll get to that a little bit later. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And before we move forward, I have to point out on this part of the slide, our own Cammie Lewis is featured as the model on this brochure. So we've got a legend amongst us.
You got to pay me a little bit more for that, Mary. You know?
That's right. That's right. Hey, alumni. It's all about the alumni. Awesome. All right, moving along. Next, we have the Dean of Student Affairs, ALICIA KRUZENGA, who's going to speak about our commencement and a few other topics. ALICIA, you're on.
Thank you. Welcome, Dons. To those of you that are new and incoming freshmen, welcome. We're so happy to have you. For those of you that have been here, welcome back. We can't wait to actually see you guys in person. I know that's going to be soon. I know that Doug and Mary and everyone is working diligently to see when we could get you guys back on the fields, on the courts, and everywhere else. So welcome back. Exciting time. All right, so commencement. We're so sad it's tomorrow, but obviously it's not happening. We're very sorry about that. A letter from Dr. Rose is coming out any minute. And you know, obviously you can't have an event with 6,000 spectators and 2,000 people on the field. So we did a survey. If anybody was close to graduating, they would have received the survey. And we asked, what would you guys like to do? Overwhelmingly, they wanted postponement. The options were a virtual ceremony or postponement or just cancel it altogether. And overwhelmingly, they wanted to postpone it. What does that mean? We don't know because of the governor's restrictions that change every day. We are in phase 2, but of course, as Dr. Manning pointed out in the beginning, we are in a different time right now. We have COVID, but we also have the protesting and the rioting. So due to that, stage 2, a lot of things that were opening is not opening. So we have to, you know, we're staying tuned to see what we can do. Right now, it looks like we will be postponing until January. We do hold it at Eddie Westfield, so we do compete, of course, with football. Football, if high school football, which everyone's hoping will come back, that's August through December, so we would not be able to use that field during those times. So we are looking for January. We are hopeful that we will be able to do it at Eddie Westfield. If not, we're looking for other locations, maybe even SAC ourselves and have a couple of different ceremonies. So that's not ideal, but we're every possibility so we can get everyone celebrated is what we're doing. However, in the meantime, we still want to congratulate the class of 2020. So we are doing a virtual congratulations. It is not a virtual ceremony or a virtual graduation. It's a virtual congratulations. So you will see some people here today did some speeches to congratulate our class of 2020. We're also very excited. I don't know if most of you know, but we have a bachelor program here at Santa Ana College. We're one of 15 community colleges that have one. And so this is the second graduating class to receive to earn their bachelor's degree at Santa Ana College. So we also have a shout out to them, and we have a special message from one of their bachelor students. That should be going live on June 8th, which we are hopeful and excited for, as well as a care package to all graduates will be mailed out in July, which will include their diploma, the diploma cover, a tassel, a keychain, and different fun SAC paraphernalia. Also, cap and gowns are available if people wanted to pick them up to, if you wanted to take photos or do anything from there, you can absolutely pick up cap and gowns from our bookstore, and there's more information on their website. Dawn's Corner. Hopefully you guys are aware that we had, it was supposed to be the last Thursday of every month, and we were able to hold one before the COVID issue occurred. It started the last Thursday of February. Of course, the last Thursday of March, we had to cancel, as well as, it's going to look very different. The last Dawn's Corner, obviously students walked up, they received a bag, they kind of went through and picked their own groceries. With everything going on, I'm sure everyone can understand that that is no longer an option. So we're very excited to say that on June 10th, by appointment only, we will be doing a drive-through Dawn's Corner. What that looks like is you will be entering from Bristol, and you will come in and it's very easy. We're gonna have signs everywhere and cones everywhere, and you will follow the cones. We will be giving everybody a bag of groceries, which do include refrigerated items. So we will have fruit, produce, dairy items. So please make sure that if you are coming, that you aren't going somewhere right afterwards, because there will be some refrigerated items. It is students only and by appointment only. So if you wanted to sign up right now, you could go to our Instagram page, which is SAC_Dawn's Corner, and there's a link to sign up. You sign up by time, and we ask that you please get there on time. Your trunk is where, so you'll pull up, you'll roll down your window once to show us your ID. We will mark you off the list, and you will move forward. You will not be rolling down your window again. Unfortunately, due to the OC health regulations, children are not allowed in the car, so you will have to be adults only. One bag per car. Again, it has to be a student with a form of ID, and then the grocery will actually be set in your trunk. So please make sure that your trunk is cleaned out, because they will be placing the grocery bag in your trunk. So again, that's June 10th. We're hopeful that this is not going to be our last one. So we're going to see how this goes. We're actually partnering with another foundation called Power One. And so hopefully, we're hopeful that we can do it every other week or at least once a month. But please, follow Dawn's Corner on Instagram for more information. Foster youth, I'm excited to see Frank Gonzalez, the counselor, online as well. He is one of our foster youth counselors as well. Anybody under the age of 25 that is a foster youth, we have a lot of services for you. A lot of times we get athletes that come in for other reasons, and then we do find out that they were a foster youth or in the system. And so we are very happy to get them connected with Guardian Scholars and give them all the services and benefits we have for our foster youth. So I always like to make sure that I do a shout out for them, so you know that there are additional services that we provide to all of our foster youth age 25 and under. Again, Frank Gonzalez is on the line. He kind of did a shout out earlier today with Jeff. So if you're meeting with Frank, he has all the information as well about our foster youth program. Any questions?
Awesome. Alicia, it's Mary. We're gonna hopefully hear from Frank here in a minute here, but could you review again how they make an appointment for the Dawn's Corner? That sounds awesome. And Kayla, if you wouldn't mind, would you please type this into the chat so everybody can see how to make an appointment for that service?
Sure. So we are going to be sending out a all SAC email, and that will have a flyer with a link on the flyer. But in the meantime, this is like, hot off the press, people. We already did upload it to our Instagram page. So it is SAC_Dons Corner, DONS Corner, one word. So you could go there right now. There's a link in the bio, and you could click on it and sign up for your appointment time.
Awesome. That's great. Frank, are you with us still, Frank? Do you have anything to add about foster youth or anything that Jeff CUTKOMP discussed as far as athletic counseling? Is he still muted?
I'm not seeing Frank.
Yeah, I think he had to go.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you so much. Awesome. All right, Alicia, and any questions in the chat for Alicia, Kayla?
Nope. I just put the Instagram account on there, so
Perfect.
they can find the place to sign up for the appointments.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Alicia. Really appreciate your time today. All right, moving right along. We're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to move into some athletics specific information. Our next presenter is our certified athletic trainer, Jose Sanchez Uribe. Jose, are you with us?
I am. Hi.
Awesome. Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Good, I hope. So just a couple of things on my end. For those who are going to be here in the fall, obviously everyone who's here is going to be here. Everyone must, two things, fill out everything that's on sportswear. I'll go over that in a minute. Everyone will also need a physical. At the moment, we don't think we'll have mass physicals where you got seen by a doctor on campus like we have in the past. So we highly recommend that you make an appointment with your doctor or a clinic, which again, I will provide some for you in case you don't have one, and get a physical. Physicals last for 6 months. So if you get it now, it will last until December or close to December. If you want to wait and make an appointment until August to see whether or not we'll have physicals, you can do that as well. As long as you make your appointment before at least a week before the first day of practice. That gives me enough time to get all your paperwork and clear you. If you wait till the last day, the chances of you being cleared that day of will be very difficult, and you don't want to risk that. Just to go over sportswear real quick, I want to highlight a couple of things for you of some of the issues we've had in the past with other athletes, and so I want to make sure you don't have those problems while trying to fill out the proper paperwork. Cami, do you have the link to? And so when you click, you can go to our website. Under Inside Athletics, there's a pop-down window. You can go to Sports Medicine. You click on that. It'll take you to our homepage. And then on the top right, it'll say Clearance Forms. Go ahead and click on Clearance Forms. That'll take you to all the information you'll need regarding getting cleared for this fall. The instructions are on there. When you click on Sportswear, it'll take you to the instructions for sportswear. When you create an account, there's two things that are important. One is if you already started in a sportswear account at another school, let's say you went to Long Beach City for a year and you already have an account there, you'll have to contact me for me to make a new account for you, or else every time you log in, you will go straight to your Long Beach City account. Even if you didn't play sports there, if you just create an account, your account stays and saved forever. So make sure that if you did go to another school, if you possibly made an account at that other school, let me know and I'll help you through this process. The other thing is that once you log in and you're in sportswear, you'll need to do two things. Under My Info, under General, you must put class of 2021 in order for you to see the paperwork. When you make an account, your group automatically sends you to 2020, 2021. That's automatic. It's required when you make your account. But once you start filling in the info, you must have class of 2021 or else the forms will not appear. So that's why I highlighted there for you. It's probably best if you just go down the instructions and go by that step. Sometimes students don't want to fill out their My Info first, and they want to fill out the PDF forms first, and that's where the problem is. So make sure you go down, go into My Info, complete that first, and then go to your PDFs. If you are under 18, underage, and your birthday, you're not going to turn 18 until after August. Fill out the forms, print them out, and have your parents sign them, and then bring them in with you or mail them to campus. That way I can clear you. And that's all regarding sportswear. So again, I have access to all the information on sportswear. I know when you log in, it tells me there when you log in. It tells me when you try to log in and you forgot your password. It lets me know that too. So just go ahead and fill that out. If you have any issues, email me. I'll fix it for you. I already had a conversation with one student athlete last week. We resolved that issue via email. If for whatever reason it can't be solved over email, I'll give you a phone call or a Zoom call, and we can figure that out. It's not a problem. But again, this has to be filled out prior to the first day of practice. Cami, can you do me a favor going back one? If you don't have a clinic to go to for physicals and you live around the Santa Ana area, there's at the very bottom says health screening clinics. I called those clinics a couple of weeks ago. I confirmed that they're doing physicals and the pricing on there is correct. If by any chance they want to charge you more for physicals, any of these clinics, let them know that you're not doing blood work, you're not doing anything sophisticated, you're just doing a high school type of physical, meaning they're just checking your heart, your lungs, and a quick ortho screening. So these are all confirmed pricing. I called, they all confirmed that pricing, so you should not be paying more than what's on that list. If you do go to your own physical, obviously most of you are going to get your own physical. I also included the physical form on this website. Cam, if you could do me the favor again. And it's right there where it says physical form. Just go ahead and print it out and take it with you to the doctors. For the coaches who are on this call, some of you might have this form from prior years. Just make sure that's the correct form because it has changed over the years. In the past, they have allowed nurse practitioners and PAs to sign off on these. The 3C2A no longer allows that, and so only medical doctors can sign in. So this is the new form. We used it last year, so if you have last year's form, it's fine. But if you have older forms, don't forward that to your athletes. I just highly recommend you get rid of those and just use the one from the website. That way you don't mistakenly send one by mistake. And then we have to send the athlete back to the clinic, which we've done multiple times. Sometimes the nurses and the PAs get upset at us, but we're not making those rules. So just use the one on the website. That way we don't force the kid to go back and forth multiple times. So that's regarding physicals. When paperwork is complete, right now I have 10 people who have signed up for sportswear that started completing their forms. I start to create a roster that your coach sends out to me, and I fill it out and I let them know exactly what you're missing. If you're missing a copy of your insurance card, if you're missing a telephone number or an emergency contact, any little detail, I give that over to your coach, and so your coach keeps a weekly update of what you're missing. So your coach will know what you're missing every week once we start getting those rosters in. So there won't be like, oh, I already did it, and then you think your coach is not going to be informed, but they're going to be informed exactly what you still need completed, or if you completed it all, okay? The other thing I wanted to talk about for this was, oh, shoot. Can you go back to the slide, please?
I'll pull it right up here. Where'd it go? There we
So
go.
we're going there. Obviously, mental health has been a big issue and is becoming more and more of an of something we talk about more freely. People are becoming more comfortable with mental health issues. I know it's still not something that we're completely comfortable with, or even able to not diagnose, but know that we have it. A lot of us don't know we have mental health issues. You know, I think a lot of us, if not everybody, goes through something sometime in their lifetime, if not multiple times. And I'm certain that because of COVID, there's many issues going on for all of us. You know, some of our parents have lost their jobs. Maybe some of the students have lost their jobs. They're not living at home. And so that can create a couple of mental health issues. The NCAA created a study, and over 60% of students said they had some form of mental health disability, not disability, but an issue, you know, not sleeping, anxiety, etc. So if you feel that you might be on that path, there's resources for you. Sometimes it's just reaching out to somebody and talking about it, someone that doesn't know you. Sometimes it's more comfortable. Sometimes it's more comfortable talking to somebody you do know, maybe a friend. But in any case, there's resources here for you. Like Rebecca said, there's resources at the health center. They have their psychologists there that you can talk to. There's also the mental health, the National Alliance on Mental Health, NAMI.org. They're the national organization that's there for mental health issues. They have lots of resources on their website. Again, that is NAMI.org. Anything from, you know, calling someone and just talking about some of your stresses that you're dealing with right now, personal, at home, maybe even related to sports. You know, some people, sports is their way out. And so not having sport is creating a stress. And so it's definitely understandable to have certain stresses in your life during this time. So don't feel like it's not a time to reach out. You know, it's a perfect time right now. And the other thing I want to talk about is to help with mental health. You should carry your day around like it's a normal day, even though it's really difficult. You know, obviously going about, you know, playing a little 2-on-2 with your buddies at the park is not probably possible at the moment. You know, taking your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatnot to the movies is not, you know, possible. Whatever it is, you should still try to carry your day like a normal day. You know, make sure you find space where you live. Then that's going to be your space to do, you know, whatever it is, right? For me, I have 3 little girls, and they don't like to be away from me. And it's been really difficult doing Zoom meetings every day. They want to be on my lap. They want to be, you know, they want to see their own face on the computer. And so I have to find a space where I can be away from them even for a little bit. And so they know, all right, Daddy's in that room. We got to leave him alone for a little bit. And so, you know, for you, if you live with family, you're sharing a room with someone, you know, creating a space where you can focus on whatever it is you're doing, whether it's schoolwork, Zooming, FaceTiming people, whatever it is. Also, in regards to your routine, don't get caught up in the get up and wear PJs all day. That can kind of weigh down on your mind a little bit. You know, I've done it probably the first 2 weeks. I was in my PJs up until like 2 p.m. All right. You know, put on your regular clothes like you're going out, you know, get in that mindset, even if you don't go out. Don't forget about hygiene. Yes, get up and brush your teeth like you're going to work. Yes, do your hair. Now you can get a haircut. Mary can be a witness. My hair was like close to, because I hadn't had a haircut for a long time. So, you know, do that. Exercising is great. If you guys been doing walks around the neighborhood, that's great. If you're doing some circuit training in your backyard or in your living room, great. Stay on top of that, because once we do come back, it's going to be, it's going to be hard to stay in shape and stay on top of everybody else who has been working out. So make sure you do that. Manage your time, guys. If you're going to watch TV, if you're going to be on Instagram, set an alarm. Make sure you guys are doing it for a certain amount of time. You don't get caught up just doing one thing all day, and then your day goes by. That can kind of wear you down too. Okay. If you guys have any issues, questions regarding rehab, you guys can contact me at any time. My email is Sanchez_Uribe_Jose@sac.edu. You can see my name on top. So in case you don't know how to spell my name, it's right there. Again, that's Sanchez_Uribe_Jose@sac.edu. If your coaches give you, which I'm sure they all are, they're going to give you workouts. Try and do it as much as possible. The biggest problem that we face in the summer is kids that don't show up ready to go. They're the ones that are having heat exhaustion. They're the ones cramping up. They're the ones getting injured because their body's not ready for that workout in the beginning of the season. Usually you have your summer class that kind of gets you in shape and gets you ready. And so that kind of prepares you. We might not have that this year, so make sure you're doing as much as you can at home to get ready for the season. And that's all for me.
Awesome, Jose. Really great information, and I like your tips a lot too. I think we all fell into the pajamas all day long during this pandemic. None of us have been in this circumstance before. And I think your points about mental health are especially important during this time, and reach out to people. Really appreciate it. Kayla, do we have any questions for Jose related to athletic training or any of the topics he?
Just one came through before Jose started talking. So just to clarify that student athletes will need to get a physical clearance for this year. Okay.
Awesome.
Nope, nothing else come through.
Awesome. Great. Thanks again, Jose. Thank you very much. All right, next we have our health center model extraordinaire, sports information coordinator. Also, I just again want to say thank you to Cami for all the work that he's put in to help me put this program together from the very beginning. So next we have our own Cami Lewis.
Hi, everyone. Cami Lewis, Sports Information Coordinator. I see a lot of familiar faces right now, but let me just reintroduce myself. So just so you guys know what exactly I do a lot of the stats for our games on campus. Obviously, we're not having those right now, but I also do the website design and maintenance, and then social media, and pretty much IT for the whole department. And yeah, so today I'll be giving you kind of an overview of the website and trying to show you guys, exactly where you want to go and kind of the tools that I use to get around this. So this is our home page, and this is where you find the most recent stories. You can click through them, everything like that. Down below this is our social media. On this side, if I can move this, you can get to our social media accounts through these. It's at SAC Dons for all of them: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And so that's pretty much a rundown. And if you guys have any ideas on the stuff you need to or you want to see on these platforms, you can always reach out to me, or just send a DM in the accounts, or send me an email. So let's just go through some of these tabs and make sure you understand what exactly they do. So this one, basically you can get to all the teams, and the roster schedules and stats, if applicable, are on here. If you want to go to, let's say, you want to see a previous year, you can go to archives and see all the stuff back to, I think it's about 2012. And so that's basic rundown of all our tabs for our teams. And inside athletics is a whole nother different set of things. If you want to see our facilities, if you're a prospective student athlete, you can come in here and take a look at our gym and all of our other facilities. And so you kind of get a little bit of a view of what you're getting into. And then parking information also on here. When we have our schedule clear again, you'll see everything in here, and it's kind of like a calendar mode. So you can see all the games for every team when they start going again. And then for anybody who wants to contact anybody, one of our staff members or our coaches, you can go on staff directory, and all of their contact information are right here. The best way to reach them right now, obviously they're not in their offices, but you can use their email, and we have them for, I think, everything but aquatics. If you're interested in aquatics, you just want to reach out to our athletic director at Haggerty Mary at sac.edu. Other things, obviously Jose's talked about sports medicine, and you can reach all his information right here, and his email and phone number. Obviously you want to go to the email right now, but they're right here. And then we'll skip over to academics. I know Jeff was talking earlier about how to get in contact with them, and we have their own kind of page right here. So you can go in here and schedule an appointment with them if you need assistance as far as counseling, and that'd be the best way to get to them. And very responsive, and you know, this is the best way to get to them other than our staff directory. Let's see, if you're a prospective student athlete and you want to reach a coach another way, you can also come in here and fill out this form, and you can just put in your email address and all your information, all of your athletic information, like your height, your weight, your accomplishments, and this will be sent directly to our coaches via email. There's also some other things like admission and records, financial aid, where it takes you directly to our website. And so you can go through here and kind of get information that you need, just general information. And then we have our fan zone, where it's just all the media stuff, like our Wallpaper Wednesdays, just some fun things that I like to do. And then you also have our posters, anything that is media related. This will take you to our Instagram. If we have anything live events, you'll click on live, and it'll take you directly to our YouTube channel, and you can see when we do get back to playing, that's where you will watch all of our live events. And then finally, we'll go to the Hall of Fame, and this is an important one when you're filling out our Hall of Fame application to get our scholarship that we award every year. Here is where you would apply. So you see the scholarship ceremony, and all of these are not available right now, just because the scholarships were just given out not too long ago. But if you need to apply for a scholarship, this is where you would be. And lastly, the golf tournament. So this is where we get all our information for the golf tournament, and it'll update. These are our Hall of Fame recipients, so it'll update every year and give us more information about what's going on for that year. So that's basically it, Mary. If you have any questions, you can always reach me. Remember, staff directory, or reach any of our staff here, and just let me know if you have any questions about anything.
Awesome, Cami, thank you. And also, just so you're aware, you can see on the website, Cami does a lot of really interesting, just different things that he promotes on the website, different stories, things like that. If you've got an interesting story, or you think it's interesting, reach out to your coach, and we'll connect with Cami and look to maybe post it on social media or on the website. All right, moving along. Okay, keeping with the athletics, subject right now, we're going to talk a little bit about eligibility. And there have been some adjustments to eligibility as a result of COVID. And Kayla has put together this information for us today. So thank you, Kayla. So before we get into the COVID-related eligibility issues, I just want to let you know, if you are a first-year athlete, so if you have never competed in any sport at any level of college, you're considered a first-year student athlete. In order to be eligible this year, it's pretty basic. You are basically automatically eligible. You didn't have to do anything before you got to SAC, okay? But once you're at SAC, in order to be eligible to compete in a sport, you have to be actively enrolled in 12 units. 9 of those have to be academic. Usually the 3 that aren't are usually your intercollegiate athletics class during your season of competition. We always, though, encourage you to take 15, 17, 18 units, you know, for a couple. First of all, we want you to transfer and be ready. If a college comes calling for you and they're going to give you a scholarship, we want you to be ready to transfer and on a path to transfer. The other reason is if maybe your first semester in college, there's going to be an adjustment, and maybe one of your classes is just very challenging, and it might be better to drop that class. You might be able to drop a class and still retain your eligibility. If you fall below 12 units during the term for any reason, you're not eligible until you get back up above 12 units. You also must be enrolled in your intercollegiate sport class. Your coaches will give you that information, as well as our athletics counselors. You also must complete all of the paperwork for athletic training. As Jose went over, all of that information must be done, including your physical, your baseline concussion, all of that paperwork on file. And you also must have an education plan on file. And Jeff CUTKOMP spoke about that a little bit, but you must have an education plan in place in order to compete. If you are a continuing student athlete, there are some updates to the 3C2A eligibility rules. So normally, if you competed in the sport, by the time you compete the second time in that sport, you used to be able to, or you used to have to complete at least 24 units with the 2.0. Because of COVID, there's been some adjustments to those requirements. You know, we are all aware that transitioning to online learning for most of you wasn't what you signed up for. And to be honest, many of your professors across campus maybe never have ever taught on campus before. We know that's very challenging, and as a result, there's been adjustments made. So first of all, if you are a spring 2020 student athlete, so baseball and softball, track and field, if you were competing beach volleyball, if you were in good standing on your team on March 12th, 2020, you will get your year back, okay? So no matter how many contests you competed in, you will get another year of eligibility back. And good standing means you had not quit the team before then or had not been removed from the team before then. So as good standing then, you're gonna get your year back. If you played a first year and a second year, you must maintain a 2.0 from the first competition to compete again next spring. So if you did compete in 2020, you got the year back. The only requirement for you to play in 2021 is that you have a 2.0 GPA. You notice there's no unit requirements between now and then. That doesn't mean that we don't encourage you to take a full load of units if you're able, but we also understand that the challenges and some of the adversity that you've faced academically may make that impossible for you. And student athletes on the Form 3 and in good standing, so meaning if you were a competitor in spring 2020 and you were in good standing, when it comes time to compete again in 2021, you only have to be enrolled in 9 units instead of the normal 12 units that you need to compete. The reason for that is, as far as transfer rules go, when you transfer to a college, and especially depending on how many full-time terms you've competed in or attended before you got there, you have to complete a certain percentage of your major at that institution before you're eligible. And so by not making you full-time next spring, that will reduce that percentage. So hypothetically, instead of having to complete 60% of your major before you even get to a 4-year college, you only have to complete 40%. And it's impossible to complete 60% of a major at a 4-year college when only 50% of your major could have been completed, okay? So I know that may sound a little complicated, but you'll hear from your coaches about that. You'll hear from our athletics counselor, and it'll all make a little more sense. Okay, for the fall 2020 student athletes, okay? So we're talking about our soccer, volleyball, cross country, football. I know I'm missing some, wrestling. If you competed last year, okay, so if you competed in your fall sport in 2019, in order to compete in 2020, you only need to have completed 20 units since your last competition in 2019, 9 of them academic with a 2.0. So normally, in order to compete a second season, you need to complete 24 units with a 2.0. Because of COVID, and again, because of those challenges that many of you experienced as a result of the pandemic, you only need to have completed 12 units from season to season. Now, I encourage you to complete as many units as you can this summer. Hopefully you were able to complete units in the spring. But don't use this new eligibility adjustment as an excuse to not take classes and not work hard. We still want to try to achieve as much as we possibly can, but we just understand that for some of you that may not have been possible for many of the reasons we've already discussed. So again, please do your best, please enroll, please keep moving forward on your progression towards transfer. All 2021 student athletes, so if you compete in the fall, if you compete in the spring, due to COVID, and again, access and learning issues and all the things we've talked about, normally to compete from one full-time semester to the next, you must have completed 6 units in that last full-time requirement. But for 2021, you won't need to do that. Okay, so the summary is there have been major adjustments to allow you to compete this year. But again, I encourage you to do your best and don't use this as an excuse to not do what you're capable of doing, taking as many classes as you're able to take. As we're getting near the end here, and I know our coaches are the ones who have been communicating it with you since all of this began. Our coaches, talented coaches who, even before COVID, you were used to hearing from them from texting, from email, from their cell phones, on weekends and evenings. So I think in many ways for athletics, when we transitioned to this remote learning, our coaches were ready to go because they already communicated with you on a regular basis. And again, I know that they've been doing a great job with their Zoom meetings and all that communication since all of this started. Do we have any coaches here on the call that would like to say anything to the group, add anything, anything at all? Do we see anybody, Kayla? Usually
I see a couple coaches on here. I've allowed you to unmute yourself if you want to speak up. We'll give it a minute or two.
Awesome. Coaches, do you have anything to add to what we've talked about already? Are they quieter than usual today?
Jeff Jones said, "I'm all good. Hope everyone is well."
Awesome. All right. Very good. Okay, so I want to give an opportunity. First of all, Kayla, are there any other questions that we've received during the forum that we didn't get to yet that we might be able to address?
Yeah, there was a question about whether the SAC Promise covers summer classes.
Do we have Jeff CUTKOMP on the call still? That's something that I will find out. I don't believe it does. I believe that the promise is for the full-time terms. but I'm not positive on that, but I'm gonna get that information. Coaches,
Mary.
are any of you have been here longer? Oh, Jeff, thank you.
Yeah.
What can you tell us?
As far as I know, it's for the academic term. So like if you applied for this year, you would get it for next summer, but not for this summer. So if you're a current student, you might be eligible for it this summer.
Okay.
But if you're an incoming student, it would be for the following summer.
Okay, and I'm going to make a note to see if I can learn
Yeah.
anything more about that, and I'll pass
always,
that along.
Always double check with your financial aid representative to just make sure your particular situation is covered.
Awesome. Is there anything else, Kayla?
Yeah, there was a question about whether summer training would be allowed.
So, so as far as training, so right now, as Dr. Manning mentioned, and there's no training on campus right now. All of our summer classes are remote. We are prepared once we get the go-ahead to transition those to on campus with all the safety adjustments that we know have to happen. And all of that is dependent on the 3C2A as well as the governor, Orange County, and then our Rancho California Community College district. So right now there is currently no training on campus. Coaches I know have been giving conditioning workouts and all of that to try to help you stay as fit as possible and get as ready as possible. But we are prepared once we get a go-ahead for what that training might look like once we're back on campus. And so, you know, with social distancing and other protocols in place to make sure everybody's safe. Any other questions?
Yeah, from Troy. On behalf of Haley Baratek Women's Volleyball, does a returning out-of-state student athlete have to pay out-of-state tuition as a sophomore?
So the tuition, you have to follow the residency requirements in order to become an in-state resident. And the residency requirements start with living or being here for a year. You must have documentation, identification, registered a number of other residency requirements in order to get in-state residency. That doesn't automatically happen. But there are forms and things that are in admissions. And Jeff, are you on here still? Do you have any other guidance for our student athletes who are trying to get in-state residency?
No, I think Jeff had to leave.
Okay. And I'll find out a little bit more about that, but it's not anything automatic that happens. You have to apply for California residency and follow those steps. Right now, I don't know if there's been any adjustments to residency as a result of COVID. And I will try to find that information out as well for you, Troy. Take notes here for that. All right, what else? Anything else?
Who would she reach out to turn in that kind of paperwork? Would it be A&R?
It would be A&R, and I would start with Amber, who presented here today. And Caleb, could you post Amber's name into the chat? And just because she was the one here on the call, and I think that's a good place to start, email her to try to get that information, as well as I'm going to try to do a little bit of research once we're done here today.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
Oh, Amber said everything is to stay the same with residency.
Okay, gotcha.
No,
Thank you, Amber.
No changes there.
Okay.
No other questions that I've seen. Marissa Ross says, can't wait to watch you all compete and win this year. And Jamie Becerra says, excited to get back out there with everyone soon.
Awesome.
Jeff CUTKOMP says, thank you, SAC Athletics. And Amber put the admissions general email in the chat.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Awesome, Amber. Thank you so much. All right, well, we're getting here to the end of things today. And before we wrap it up, we want to do one more poll. As I mentioned, this was our first virtual forum, and we want to know if this was helpful to you. And let us know if it was helpful. If not, please tell us that too. And if you happen to think it wasn't helpful, please type into the chat how we might be more helpful if we do a future one. We don't know how long we're going to be in this remote situation, and you know, we want to be able to communicate with you as best we can, and we want to get better. Just like you want to get better as an athlete, we want to get better at everything we're doing. All right, so we'll leave the poll open for a few more minutes or a few more seconds here. Okay, maybe about 5 more seconds. All right, let's close that poll, Cam, and we can close that one out. So as we wrap up here today, I just want to say thank you for everyone for joining us here today for our first ever SAC Dons Virtual Forum. And I know with this pandemic, we've all had a lot of first evers. You know, none of us have experienced what we're going through right now. And, you know, I'm someone who has worked in athletics, intercollegiate athletics, my entire professional career. And I think before 2 months ago, if you had said that some event would happen that would cause, you know, March Madness and professional sports and all sports to be canceled indefinitely, I would have thought that's impossible, you know, but here we are. And you know, I heard this metaphor and I thought it was a great way to put it. We may not all be in the same boat, but we're in the same storm. And I want you to know that we are all here for you. We are advocating for you. First and foremost, your coaches are advocating for you. All of us in our department, our division, across campus, our main focus is for you to be safe. Again, I want you to encourage you to focus on what you can control. Don't get caught up in the things out of your control that can really send you down a rabbit hole. Focus on what you can do. What can you do today to be ready when we come through this pandemic? Because as we said, sports are coming back, and we all want to be ready. And you as an athlete want to be ready so that your team will be ready and you can come back and compete at the highest. So we are here for you. We are all here to help. And don't hesitate to reach out. And go Dons.